Hello and welcome. In today's tutorial we are going to be making this easy dress, very simple, for a 5-year-old child. I had a lot of fun working on this dress. It's so simple, we don't have any complex formulas to be able to create this dress. I believe this is a beginner friendly video. If you've never sewn a dress without a pattern, then this tutorial is for you. So stay tuned, let's get started. But before we delve into the details, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, like this video and share with your friends. Let's get started. So these are my fabric pieces I'll be using for this dress. I have cut out both the front and then the back pieces. I have 2 pieces I'll be using for the back because there will be a zipper at the back of this dress, and I have a piece for the front. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the fabric into 2. This is the front piece of fabric. I'll fold it into 2, but before I do that, let's take our measurement. So the width of this fabric for the front is 14 inches, and then the length is 10 inches. So I'm going to fold it into 2. Then I'll set it aside. So for the back, there are 2 pieces. The length of the back piece is also 10 inches, and then the width is 8 inches. So I'm going to be placing the front piece of fabric on top of the back pieces, and then I have an excess of 1 inch. That is going to be my zipper allowance for the back pieces. So I have the pieces here. I have 4 pieces, and then the folded side of the front is towards this side. So I'll start off by marking 6 inches for my chest line. I'll mark it from the top to the bottom this way, and then I will draw a straight line across this point. And to make this super easy to follow, I'm going to fold in the excess of 1 inch zipper allowance we have for the back pieces here. I'll fold it under the fabric this way, and then I'll continue to take my measurements. So the next I'll do is to input a quarter of my shoulder measurement for this child. I am working with 5.5 inches. I'll mark it at the top and then connect a straight line from this point to touch the chest line. Then I would also input my neck measurement. I'm doing 3 inches for the width of the front and then 2.5 inches for the depth. So I'll connect these 2 points to form my neck for the front. If you have a curve ruler, you can use this to draw in your curves, but I'm using my freehand for this dress. And then the back neck, I'll be doing 1 inch for the back. That is the depth of the back. So I'll mark out that 1 inch and reconnect to touch my shoulder line this way. Then on the chest line, I'm going to be measuring a quarter of my bust measurement. That is 6.5 inches. I'll mark, and then on the waist of this dress, I'll mark out 6.25 inches for the waist and connect a straight line from the waist to touch my chest line. And the next I'll do is to draw in my armhole curve. So for this curve, I just went up on this line by about 2.5 inches and then drew my armhole curve. I'll also drop this shoulder by half an inch. I'll mark it and then reconnect to touch my neck. So we are done with both the front and the back. I would then cut out my fabric pattern. So I'm cutting out the back first. And when I'm done cutting, I'll go ahead and then cut out the front as well. So I'm cutting out the back neckline. Then I'll take off the back pieces and I would cut out my front neck. So if I do it this way, then I've cut out both the front and then the back pieces for the top of this dress. I'm done cutting out. This is what we have for the front. We have one piece for the front and then I'm having two pieces for the back. So the next I will do is to cut out my lining pieces. I'll be lining the top of this dress, so I'll just cut out the same thing on my lining pieces. So I've cut out the lining pieces to save time. It's basically the same piece of pattern I used. So this is the pattern piece for the front and then the pattern piece for the back. So the next I will do is to head to my sewing machine and then stitch the neck area down and then the armhole area down for both the front and then the back. I'll leave out the shoulders and then the sides. So I've stitched out the neck area. This is the front. This is what it looks like, and I gave a notch to the neck area and then the armhole area as well after I stitched them down on the sewing machine. And for the back, I have also stitched the armhole area and then the neck. That is the lining and the main fabric has been stitched together. This is what the back looks like, and this is the right piece of the fabric. So I turned out the right side of the back pieces, and then for the front I still have the wrong piece on my table here. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to be joining the shoulders together. I will place the one of the back pieces through the front this way, and then make sure that the shoulders are aligned properly, and I would hold them down with pins. It's very important to have this area to be flat so that we don't have any bulge at the shoulder area. So I would hold them down with pins and repeat the same process for the other piece of the back. So I'll place the back piece. Remember, I turned out the back pieces to the right side and then I have the wrong side for the front. So I'll pass it through at the shoulder area and then hold them down with pins. Then I would head to my sewing machine and stitch this down on 1/2 inch on both shoulders. So I've stitched this down. This is what we have here. The next I will do is to just pull the back pieces out, and we are done with the shoulders. It's looking so neat. This approach is very simple. I hope you found it easy as well. Let me hear from you in the comment section. There are several ways to join the shoulders, but I prefer this method. So this is what the front looks like. I'm going to head to my ironing table and give it a very good press, and when I'm done pressing, I would bring in the back patterns on top of the front this way, right side facing right sides, and then I would head to my sewing machine, stitch the sides down on 1/2 inch. And after stitching the sides, this is it. We have one full piece for the front, for the top of this dress, and I give the center piece a notch as well. So I'll set this aside so we can work on the bottom part of this dress. So for the skirt part of this dress, I have here my fabric piece. This fabric is folded into 2 pieces. And I've marked out the wrong side, so I'm marking on the wrong sides so I don't get confused later. The width of this fabric is 30.5 inches and I have a length of 30 inches. So from the apex of this fabric, this side where the fold is, I'm going to mark out 15.5 inches from the top this way. I will mark it out and then mark it across. Make sure your tape measure is at the apex and then just keep turning to form an arc. 15.5 inches. I got this 15.5 inches by dividing the waist measurement of this child by 3.14 inches. So I'll mark out 15.5 across to form an arc, and when I'm done marking this, I will just use my chalk to connect the points to form this curve so that it's easy for me to be able to see this and cut it neatly. I'm going to go ahead and also add half-inch seam allowance on top of this curve we just drew. So I'll go in, mark out half an inch on the waist region of this dress. And we are done with the waist area. The next I'm going to do is to also take in my full length of the skirt for this dress, but I don't want my fabric to shift, so I'm holding them down with pins so that as I'm dragging the fabric, it does not misalign on the table. So I'm going to bring in my tape measure, and then from the apex of this fabric again, I'll mark out the full length of this skirt, and I'm going to input 30.5 inches from the apex. I'll mark it and also draw in a curve. So as I'm marking, I'm just dragging my tape measure from the apex to form a curve at the hem area. When I'm done creating the beautiful hem for this skirt, I would go ahead and then cut out the hem area. So if you are enjoying this tutorial, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and we want to hear from you in the comment section. If there's any part of this video you don't understand, kindly drop a comment and we'll be glad to help you out. So after cutting out the hem, I'm going to cut out the waist region as well. I'm going to be cutting out from the seam allowance we added, that is the half-inch at the top this way. So I'll cut it out, and this is what we have for the skirt of this dress. It's as simple as that. This is the skirt. I have one piece for the skirt. I'll head to my sewing machine and then draw gathers from one side of this skirt to the other, but I'll leave out 1 inch for zipper allowance at both sides. So I brought in the top of this dress, and then I have my gathered skirt here as well. The next thing I'm going to do is to be joining these two pieces to form a full dress. So I will just match the sides of the top and then the skirt together, and then hold them down with pins. Remember, we left out 1 inch zipper allowance for the top and then the bottom of this dress. I would pin the fabric pieces together, and then I would head to my sewing machine and then join this by 1 inch. So I'm done joining the top to the bottom of this dress. I also use my serger to just finish up the rough edges of this skirt to get a neat finish. And I have here my matching zipper I'll be using at the back. So to start off with this zipper, I would align the waist region together and go down by 4 inches, and then join the bottom of this skirt together. Then I would stitch my zipper down. So I have fixed my zipper. This is what the dress is looking like. We are almost done with it. I'm left out with the hem to finish off the hem. I have this beautiful bias tape I'll be using to finish off the hem. So this bias tape is 1/2 inch in width. So I'm going to take the bias tape and then stitch from the wrong side of this dress all round on the hem of this dress, and then when I'm done stitching it down, I would turn it towards the right side and also top stitch all around to create the design we saw in the picture for this dress. And I'm done with the hem. It's looking good. This is what the inside looks like. Remember to give it a good press. I fixed in a fabric flower at the waist region of this dress just to give it a bit of twist. And this is the back. This is what the back looks like. I have my zipper installed for easy opening for this child, and we are done with this tutorial. I hope you found this helpful, and then you agree with me that this is very simple to do. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. We'll see you in our next tutorial.